All right, 4-1, day 2, still on linear relationships. All right, we're going to pick up today with example 2. All right, so example 2. And it says, the distance y in miles that a certain cyclist can ride in X hours can be represented with the equation y equals 12x. You're given an equation. And it says, it wants you to determine if the distance the cyclist travels is proportional to the time by graphing the relationship on the coordinate plane. Okay, coordinate plane, it's just a little part of a graph here. So part A, graph the equation. Step 1, make a table of values to find the distance for 0, 1, and 2 hours. All right. So your first step is to make a table. All right, when you are given an equation, you're going to make a table. Now the background of a table is given for you with this example, but on your questions it will not be, and you'll have to make a table. All right, in math, when we have an equation with x, y, we can choose the inputs or the x's to find the value of y. So we always choose 0, 1, and 2. It's just kind of a mathematical standard to make our math life easier. So again, it gives you the background numbers that we choose our inputs, or x, 0, 1, and 2. And we have our equation in the middle, y equals 12x. Well, the hours are our x's, and we chose 0, 1, 2. So we're going to rewrite our equation with our chosen x's. So y equals 12 times 0, y equals 12 times 1, and then y equals 12 times 2. Now our outputs, or our y's, which are miles, well, 12 times 0 is 0. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. Now we have the making of 3 points. Okay, we're going to put these together. We have an x and an output y. That's the first point. Our second point, you have your input of 1, which is your x, and the output y is 12. Our third point, our input was 2, and our output was 24. And again, these are always written in an x, y format. X always comes first, and then y. All right, now let's plot our 3 points on our graph. You'll see it set up for you. We're cycling. Y is distance in miles. Your x-axis is time in hours. So our first point of 0, 0. Our second point of 1, so go over to 1, and then up to 12. All right, so let's go up to 12. Okay. And then our third point, we go over to 2, and we go up to 24. All right, we have our 3 points. Now we are going to get a straight edge or a ruler. You can also do this with a sheet of paper. And we are going to draw a straight line. Okay, through all 3 dots. We have a straight line through all 3 dots. So we made a table. We chose our inputs, or our x's, of 0, 1, 2. Always choose 0, 1, 2. And then we did our equation 3 times with the 3 different inputs to find our outputs of y. Now, describe the relationship. We're going to describe the relationship, as that means in words. Okay? So when you describe a relationship, it's going to go back. Are we proportional? Okay? Remember your 2-question test. Proportional. All right, are we proportional? So, first one, is it a straight line? Well, yeah, it's a straight line. So the answer to this first one is yes. Does it go through or touch the origin? Well, the origin, if you remember from yesterday, is 0, 0, and yes, it does go through the origin. So yes, we are proportional. All right. And since we are proportional, what we're going to do is we are going to describe the slope. So we're going to describe the slope from one point to the next. So we're going to use point 1 and how it changes to point 2. Well, point 1, we were at 0 and we went up to 12. Okay. And we were then at point 0 and we went over to 1. So we went up and over. Alrighty, so your description. We use the word distance from the y-axis. So the distance, it went up. It went up from 0 to 12 is 12 miles. And over the time is 1 hour, over 1 hour. So we determined it was proportional, and then we described our slope. All right, that's example 2. Now on the back, we have example 3. So on the front, we saw what we do when it is proportional, when it's a straight line and it touches or goes through the origin. We can say yes to both, and then we describe our slope because we were able to say yes, it's proportional. So let's check out, see what happens when we are not proportional. Okay, so sometimes you'll be given on the front, you were given an equation and you chose your inputs, created your and did the math for the outputs, you made a little table. Well, sometimes it gives you points in the actual little description itself, and so you pull out those points and you look at your graph. Cost, money, is almost always guaranteed along the y-axis, and then this number of songs is along our x-axis. All right, so let's see what it tells us. It says an online music store charges $3.25 for purchasing one song. Okay. $4.50 for purchasing 2 songs, and $5.75 for purchasing 3 songs. What does it want us to do? It wants us to determine if the cost of y in dollars is proportional to the number of songs by graphing the relationship. All right, so let's graph this relationship. Let's see what it gave us. All right, so our first point, our x's are number of songs. Okay, 1 song for $3.25. All right, remember these are always in XY format. Okay, then the next point, you have 2 songs for $4.50. All right, and then lastly, you have 3 songs for $5.75. All right, so our 3 points. So the first one, all right, we go over to 1 and then $3.25. All right, $3.25 isn't on our y-axis, but it's halfway between 3 and $3.50. Our next point is 2 $4.50. Okay, go over to 2 and then all the way up the 2 line to $4.50. And then finally 3, go over to 3 songs up to $5.75. We don't have a $5.75, but halfway between $5.50 and $6 is $5.75. We placed our 3 dots. Now we're going to take our straight edge, all right, ruler, piece of paper, whatever you have. We're going to draw a straight line, all right, straight line. Now describe the relationship. All right, so we've done that. So we're going to first see if it's proportional. proportional. So remember, you have a two-part test, okay? First up, is it a straight line? Well, yeah, it's a straight line. We literally drew it with a ruler. It's a straight line. All right, does it go through or touch the origin? Remember, your origin is 0, 0, and no, it does not. If you answer no to either one of those, it is not proportional. And when it is not proportional, we're going to say why. What we're going to describe is where our line touches the y-axis that's not 0, okay? So what this dot is here is 0, 2. Okay, the y is not 0. The x is, but the y isn't, all right? Now what this says is for 0 songs, it would cost $2. Would you pay $2 for 0 songs? No, you wouldn't. So the answer is no, because you cannot charge $2 for 0 songs. So what we just did right there was we described what is called the y-intercept. We'll get into the y-intercept a little later in a future section. But the y-intercept, that's literally where your line crosses the y-axis. It's called the y-intercept. So, is this proportional? No, it is not, because it does not go through the origin, even though it's a straight line. And when you answer no, you describe your y-intercept. Your y-intercept is where x is 0, but y is not 0. Okay, for not proportional. So no, you cannot charge $2 for 0 songs. All right, now this assignment. Listen closely, or you are going to do more math than you need to. So 4-1 day 2 is 2 sides. What I want you to pay attention to is the fact that this says example 2, all right, versus this one that says example 3. Each one of these has which example it goes over, okay? Now what I want you to do is I want you to pick two example 2 problems and 2 example 3 problems for 4 total, all right? Remember, 2 example 2s, 2 example 3s. I don't care what combination you do. You can do just the front, you can do just the back, you can pick 1 here and 3 on the back. I don't care. But remember, don't do them all.